Is justice really blind? Or do we live in a two-tiered justice system that judges its citizens based upon their gender rather than a crime they have committed? What is the penalty for a female teacher who has intimate relationships with her students? In America, most school districts have eliminated their sexual education classes as being too obtrusive into the lives of their young adults. These classes were meant to prepare students for the eventuality of having sex, but there was no eventuality for them having sex with their own teacher. Tonight, on Predator 101, we discuss a justice system based upon gender. In this episode, she paid him $28,000 cash. It would be at this middle school that Tao Sandy Doan would engage in a relationship with a boy that was 14 years of age. And Mrs. Doan at the time was a teacher who was 27, twice his age. It never ceases to amaze me when we do Predator 101, no matter how many places it takes us in the United States. We always seem to find a school where women prey on their students. Of all of the Predator 101 cases we have presented for you, Tao Sandy Doan, 27, a math teacher and coach at Royal Quintanilla Senior Middle School in Dallas, will go down in history for two major things. Now, the one, in sleeping with an underprivileged 14-year-old student of hers and paying him $28,000, which is the highest price for sex of any person in history or mankind I've ever heard of. Now, we will come back to that in just a minute. But first, let me address the damage she did to the school's reputation and to the man it was named after. Royal Quintanilla Sr. is named after a man who was raised in Mexico City, Mexico, and to the age of 11, when his family moved to Dallas, Texas. He volunteered after graduation in the U.S. Army, where he became a citizen and later served in the Vietnam conflict. After returning home and getting married, Royal's career path would take him from a junior college earning his degree in business and finance to a job as a collection supervisor for credit card operations at First National Bank of Dallas. Now, this is important. You have to know where some of these schools' names come from, and this one's not a simple one. Now, his many accomplishments while climbing in banking and finance were chairman of the Greater Dallas Chamber of Commerce, for one, Hispanic Bankers Association, executive committee for Oak Cliff Chamber, Dallas Symphony Board, contributor to the Heart and Hammer, both United Way agencies, as well as the Neighborhood Housing Services of Dallas, and board member of Mi Escuelita Preschool, which has offered Royal Quintanilla scholarships to benefit young children in school. So in short, the school was named after a very great man who not only wanted something for himself, but for his community. So when she damaged the school name, she damaged him, but I'm going further. Ultimately, his career would lead him to become the first president of Nations Bank, which would ultimately become Bank of America. So if you shop with Bank of America, this is where it came from. Navarro went on to do many charitable works for his community and civic organizations to benefit Dallas. Paul would be killed in a tragic car accident that was acknowledged all the way up to the president in the White House, which at that time was President Clinton. And 1 year after his passing, Dallas Independent School District named a middle school after him. Long story short. Now this brings us back to the story of Tao Sandy Doan. As I said before, 27 years of age, a math teacher and coach at Royal Quintanilla Senior Middle School in Dallas ISD. Now she was arrested in January of 2017 and accused of paying a former middle school student hush money to avoid being caught for a sexual relationship. So for all those who are out there for the Me Too campaign and find out that a lot of those guys in Hollywood paid those women so they wouldn't tell, or you're concerned about the president doing the same, this happened. Natal said she did this because she was being blackmailed by the 14-year-old she was sleeping with. Now, the sexual relationship was discovered only because the mother of the teen said she tracked the source of some suspicious text messages to a teacher who she said met many times at school events and who taught her son math when he was in the 8th grade. So she had met this woman many times, but the woman never told her that she was having sex with her son. As I said before, if you're part of Me Too, this is part of that. Then a mom reported to the Texas school, which called Dallas ISD police and removed the teacher from the class the same day. Now the student's mother said about the event that this really changed my son, she said. This really turned my son into another person that he wasn't. And this goes for a lot of people who think that boys only wanted sex. Well, it benefited him. It changed a boy as a person. Now, Nadia said text messages, also quoted in court documents, tipped her off to her son's alleged blackmail of a teacher. She later learned that the teacher is accused of having sex with her son when he was 14 years old. In other words, the woman was twice as old as the boy she had sex with. Now, she said at times he started getting into drugs, drinking, and leaving the house, and he would probably get money and just leave the whole weekend. Now, she said, I wouldn't hear from him. I'd be out looking for him the entire weekend. She couldn't find a 14-year-old boy. Why? Because a woman twice his age had him with her. Now, court documents say that Nadia reported the text to school officials and demanded that Doan, his teacher, start giving her son money. Police say a detective then interviewed Doan, who admitted to having sex with the student 4 separate times, one of those times being a month before her arrest. Now, she told police that the two had corresponded via Instagram before having sex in a park and continued their affair over 7 months. Now, a lot of these teachers that groom the students, they get them with either Snapchat or through Instagram. So if you have a child and the child's talking to teacher Snapchat or Instagram, watch out. The search warrant affidavit added Doan confirmed the student received an image of her exposing her breasts and that the two engaged in explicit texting. She also told police she began receiving demands for cash in exchange for the student's silence, beginning a year after the illicit affair. Also like the ones in Hollywood. Even though they said the guy touched them, who was a Hollywood producer, they still accepted money from him, or they took him to court to sue for the money. Now, police say Doan withdrew money from her bank and took out payday loans to the tune of an estimated $28,000. Now, the predator teacher began receiving threatening messages and texts on New Year's Day of 2016 and calls from different unknown numbers organizing drop-off payments. As I said before, when you have Hollywood producers and stars that so-called touch women, they do the same thing. Now, the teacher sent the student back text showing that the educator also wrote in part, I know you're not playing. That's why I'm so scared. She said she was thinking about suicide. She says, I can't go to jail. I can't do that to my family. I made a huge mistake and I don't know how to fix it. Please forgive me. Please, she said. All the loan stores and banks are closed on Sunday. So she was talking to him by text on one particular Sunday. The student mother says her son was 15 years old at the time of the teacher's arrest and that he used the money on drugs. Now, she admits that her son was wrong, but says an adult should have known better. And if you're an adult out there, especially with a child, male or female, you can attest to this fact. She says, I mean, this is very hurtful because he's a victim here. And he was the child, Nadia said. He is the child. He still is a child, she says. But it hurts me because I've been through a lot with him. So she was trying to save her son, and on the other end, a woman twice his age was trying to destroy him. And Nadia says her son has been in and out of juvenile system on burglary and robbery charges since. She believes the most recent payment was $1,500 that the teacher gave him a day before Nadia reported the text messages to the school. So the woman was paying him money back to back, and the boy was taking money back to back. $28,000 is the highest somebody can ever pay for sex. And Doan bonded out on jail the day after she was arrested. She was facing felony charges of improper relationship between an educator and a student. And I must say, we have done an awful lot of these cases. In this case, like a few others I've done, goes cold turkey. You cannot find nowhere in history that this woman received any kind of punishment after the date that she was released. So in a lot of these cases where you have female teachers, they let them go. The school quietly lets the charges go. And the city quietly lets the charges go. The media turns off its cameras. In this case, they pitted the woman over the child because of the child asking for money. But there's nothing we give you further on this case. For Predator 101, this is Charles Rivers. Until we see you next time, when a woman who was twice, 3 times, 4 times age of student touches a child. Thank you for watching.
It's okay.